It's your Auburn baseball midweek chat after Auburn baseball falls to Troy 8-7 at home. We're breaking down that game, looking back at Mississippi State series and looking ahead to that challenging matchup with a series with South Carolina in Columbia all right now. War Eagle, and welcome back here to another edition of E2C Network Live. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you are watching live, whether you're watching on the replay. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, and just talking about something that's related to Auburn and the orange and blue. As I addressed at the top of the show, this is our weekly midweek chat for Auburn baseball, where we get together and talk about what's going on with this team right now. Yes, your Auburn Tigers did just lose a midweek matchup to in-state opponent Troy by the score of 8-7. Not the best feelings around tonight, especially after the very exciting and very fulfilling series with Mississippi State at home, and an even more challenging matchup and series with South Carolina coming up. So we're going to try to hit a little bit of all those in a very short amount of time, but we'd love to hear from you tonight, especially those of you that are watching live. You can obviously share your thoughts on the replay in the comments section, but in the live chat right now, we'd love for you to start by smashing the like button, doing all those things that we normally encourage you to do, checking in, post where you're watching from, your city, your state. And if you're international, do that too with a War Eagle. Let us know that you're here and what you want to talk about related to the baseball team right now. So we'll walk through as much as we can of this and give you the gist of what you need to know. Again, Auburn falls to Troy in a Tuesday midweek matchup at home at Plainsman Park, 8-7. Auburn has done a decent job this season of not dropping these midweek games outside of a handful of them, and this is one of them. So that's been one good thing about this year. Obviously, this one does not fall into that category as we do fall to the Trojans tonight. Got off to a pretty rough start as well for Troy, that is. Auburn put up a 6 spot in the first inning alone. It was 1-6 after the end of the first for both teams. And then Troy followed that up with a 4-run second inning. Pretty quiet until the 6th inning, where Troy put up another 3 runs. Auburn countered with 1 in the 7th. And that is where things stood at the end of this. So really lively at the beginning of the game for both teams, and then got quite boring in some sense. But then Troy did bust it open tonight. Here's a quick rundown of how the Auburn baseball team did offensively tonight. Your lineup was Cole Foster, Bobby Pierce, Ike Irish, Brandon Ware, Cole McMurray, Kason Howell, Justin Kirby, Caden Green. Mike Bello came in as a pinch hitter. Brandon Moss, Cam Hill, Nate LaRue, who went out in the bottom of the 8th with an injury after having completing an incredible play, a great throw from Bobby Pierce out in left field. Was it left field or right field? I can't remember. But completing a great throw out at the plate, but it took a bit of a beating, it seems like, at the plate, and had an injury or something going on with him. Hopefully he's okay. Chris Stanfield came in to pinch hit there. And then Wright obviously finished out at catcher after the pinch hit of Stanfield. So that was your lineup tonight. Your best hitter on the night was Kason Howell, 2 for 4 with 1 hit, 1 RBI, 1 double. And then everybody else who got a hit tonight, Cole Foster, Bobby Pierce, let me back that up. Cole Foster, Bobby Pierce, Ike Irish, Cole McMurray, and we already mentioned Kason Howell. Now, I said that I misspoke. It was not Kason Howell who had the best night tonight. He had a good night, 2 for 3. I read that the wrong way. Bobby Pierce had a night, 4 for 5 of his at-bats, 1 RBI. It just looked a little bit different when I looked at it the first time, but Bobby Pierce is definitely your best offensive player on the night tonight. Hayden Murphy got the start, only went 2 innings, allowing 5 runs. Parker Carlson came in, then Drew Nelson and Chase Isbell ended the game for Auburn. So that's who got on the mound. That's who offensively contributed tonight, and obviously not the way that you want to have a midweek game go, especially right now with the predicament that Auburn finds himself in. Before we kind of get there, let's look back at the last weekend, because that was a really big weekend. First of all, let's go ahead and give a shout out to Cooper McMurray, who just had an outstanding last week. Not only was the SEC Player of the Week, but one of the National Players of the Week by the Collegiate Baseball publication. It's a high honor, one that you don't get lightly. And so huge kudos to Cole McMurray for not only producing for Auburn, but obviously getting him some accolades throughout the week. Very much deserved, I think. So up until tonight, he had hit a home run for the 4 for 4 and the 4 home runs in the last 4 games, which is an incredible feat to pull off. And not only that, but you hit the foul pole, each foul pole in one game for a home run each time, which is just absolutely incredible to pull off. Thomas is here. High Flies here. Good to see you guys. Thanks for checking in. Just doing our quick run through of what's been happening this week, besides losing to the Troy Trojans tonight. Yes, the double doink was incredible. So let me take a quick pause here, because I know it's not always fun to do these after losses, but one of the good things that we can kind of sit on for a second is Cole McMurray, and what a feat that is. The commentator, maybe I forget who it was who said it on the TV, but asked the question, has that ever been done in a baseball game? You would think in the storied history of baseball that we would have somewhere etched in our mind that some great hitter, Babe Ruth, whoever, whether it was collegiate, whether it was professional baseball, minor league baseball, somebody did the double doink, a true home run off of the foul pole. And the interesting thing about this is, too, that's not it's the foul pole, but it's the in play part of it, because, the pole goes up and then there's like this part that fans out to show that, hey, this ball is still in play. So that's the part that he hit to show that he still hit a home run, and did it on each side of the field. That alone is incredible enough to get you those awards, but had a great week last week, and not really a big night for him tonight, but still he contributed in some ways tonight. In fact, looking at what he did, 2 hits in the night in 3 attempts. He got walked twice. When you do what you did last week, you're going to get walked a lot. I know I'm away from the microphone. Bear with me for a second. Handling some business over there. When you do what he did last week, you get walked a lot, and rightfully so. The great thing about this team is you never have to worry if they're out of it. And I've said that a lot, and I know it gets a little bit boring to some of y'all, but it's the truth. This team is just chock full of weapons everywhere, whether it's the, starting 5 there, Cole Foster, Bobby Pierce, Ike Irish, Bryson Ware, and Cole McMurray. But you got to look out for Justin Kirby, Kason Howell. Shoot, you got to look out for Chris Stanfield when he comes in. I mean, any of these guys can produce offensively. The struggles, as we've talked about a lot, have been in the pitching staff. And I know that's also monotonous to talk about. All right, looking back at Mississippi State this past week, Auburn had a very thrilling Friday night, April the 21st, against Mississippi State, getting the win 2-1. We're not used to these low-scoring games, but a gem of a game from Tommy Vale. If Cole McMurray hadn't stole the limelight last week, Tommy Vale might have gotten that. Maybe not National Player of the Week, but just would have taken the starlight, essentially, in terms of who out of Auburn had the best week. Mississippi State came back in game 2 and won it 10-11. Auburn, almost pulled that one off. I again submit to you, do not ever count this team out. And if that wasn't exciting enough, Mississippi State game 3 went down to the wire as well. 12-11. The Tigers get the win the series at home, which was crucial. Now, so where are we at right now? When we came into that series, it was really my make or break point for both Auburn and Mississippi State. While Mississippi State loses the series, I'm not following them closely, so I can't speak to them holistically, but I can say that I don't think it's a make or break for them, because they got one game out of it. And that's really, at that point, what you've got to focus on getting, is just getting that one game. Auburn got the series win. They really didn't need to drop any more midweek games, in my perception. And that happened tonight. It happens from time to time, especially when you've been struggling pitching wise. And tonight is no exception. So that is a big mark against them going forward. And it really continues to make the challenge that they have before them even more challenging. So what's next? Well, it depends on which publication you look at. But either number 2, number 3, or I think there's a few more that rank people out there. But I've heard number 3 on the broadcast here on Auburn's schedule. They're listed at number 2 currently, South Carolina in Columbia. Now, I may be wrong, but if I remember correctly, South Carolina at the beginning of the season wasn't very high. Like I think they were ranked, but wasn't that high up. They have clearly worked their way up into the top upper echelon of the SEC and the nation, and you're going to their place. And they're not super far removed from some of their dominance that they've had. So throw all that in there together, and that's probably not a good recipe for Auburn. Get 3 games starting this Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday game times would be 6 p.m. These are Central Time, so keep that 6 p.m. on Friday, 3 on Saturday, and then 11 a.m. on Sunday. So your typical night, midday, and noon-ish game, depending on what time zone you're in, to look forward to. What's got to happen? Auburn's got to get a game. I don't know where it comes from, who gets it, who pulls off the magic. You got to hope that Tommy Vale can really rework what he did last Friday on the road, and that he gets the support as well. So keep in mind, Tommy Vale did that with very little run support, a 2-1 win, and pulled off that gem. So if Auburn can come in there firing on all cylinders, get a great performance out of Tommy Vale, can support him, get that first win, then I'm going to walk the rest of the series feeling, okay, you know what? We're playing with house money at this point. Just do whatever you got to do at this point because we got the game that we need to do. Now, I hate that we've reached that point where we're just begging for a game, but I think it was, I keep forgetting their names on the broadcast. I know Greg Olson was on there, but maybe it was him that said it. Really, your focus has to be just getting that one game, not just for this series, but for the next. And that's really going to be the challenge going forward for the next 2 weeks, is trying to get a game from the upper echelon of the SEC. All right. So let's rewind a bit. If you've got comments or questions about this team, what's going on with it right now, drop them in the chat. We'll hit some of those. But tonight, Auburn falls to Troy 8-7 at the very end. Never count this team out, even if you feel like they've given you no reason to believe in them. They will find a way to fight back into a game. If you leave early, you don't pay attention. I've been a victim of this a bunch of times this season, victim of my own unbelief in this team. Do not turn them off. They will find a way to make it interesting, if not win the game a lot of the times. Coming off a series with Mississippi State, getting the series win, winning game 1 and game 3. And then now looking ahead to a 3-game series with South Carolina in Columbia is the challenge before them. And after a masterful performance by Tommy Vale last week and Cooper McMurray, really need some of that magic to come into the next week leading up. Who's it going to be? Really could use someone else alongside Tommy Vale pitching-wise to step up. Really could use a little bit of extra magic from some of the familiar names. Yes, Cooper McMurray, Ike Irish, Bryson Ware, Beware Bomb a few times this season. This series wouldn't hurt. That is what I'm looking forward to and hoping you guys will as well. Really quick, let me give you some updates on schedule stuff. If you know our normal schedule, you know to be looking for tomorrow night a Auburn family live stream, and that is going to happen tomorrow night. But big thing here, and spread the word, folks. We are doing it at 7 p.m. Eastern time. It is an hour earlier than normal. It is our call-in show where we'll talk about anything Auburn. Football, sports, non-sports. It's all on the table. It's what you want to talk about. So don't miss it. 7 p.m. Eastern time, an hour earlier. Spread the word and do not miss it tomorrow night here on YouTube and most other platforms where we broadcast too. Check out some of the links in the description for ways that you can help get involved here by subscribing, by being a channel member here on YouTube for $1 a month, or you can be a $1 a month Booster Club member or higher for different perks. There's other things too that you can do, and we appreciate those of you that can, or you can just be here, smash the like button and drop a comment. Watch our videos, consume the content that we put out for you. That's the best way you can support us. We appreciate those of you that can and are able to go a little bit extra. So those things are available for you as well. I hope to see you guys tomorrow night 7 for the Auburn family live stream, and we'll be back again to talk some Auburn baseball next week, and hopefully with some big, really surprising maybe news of Auburn winning against South Carolina. Hopefully more than we thought they would. Until then, War Eagle.